Good evening.
Good evening.
We are extremely pleased that you are here. What is it that brings you here? What is it you're wanting?
Last session, I talked about my son and wanting his growth as, having it backwards instead of wanting his happiness and joy. And you asked me if my desire for growth in another person was exclusive of my son, and I thought it was at the time. And then since then, I realized that's what I want from everybody, is growth, as opposed to joy and freedom.
Taskmaster you
Yeah,
are.
right. I want to change that.
We can get you off the hook very easily by
Okay.
saying to you, growth cannot really be avoided. We were talking
Right.
about that earlier today. The process of life, the collection of more data, the experiencing of this and that, the response that comes forth from within, all of that results in growth. So even those that by your physical standards you would consider to be the least swift in their growth still are having some.
All right, last time there was somebody at the session, and we were talking about freedom, and I didn't like the way the discussion was going. And I felt that I wasn't free. And I thought, well, yes, I am free. I could get up and walk out. But the reason I brought that up about growth is because I would like to change my attitude toward people that are not my mirror image, desiring the same thing I am. And I thought of several things that I could have thought about, how attractive she is and how lively and how interested in the subject and so on. But I wonder if you could give me some thoughts along that line. Do you see where I'm going?
We do. It is of great value, and truly it is what brings about the absolute acknowledgement of your freedom. When you are ready and willing and able to live and let live. As long as you want something different from another than they are attracting, you will be in a binding sort of frustrated place, because there will always be those that want something very much different than what you would want them to have if you could choose for everyone. It has been the issue that is at the heart of the continuing dissension that takes place upon your earth. Everyone, or nearly, thinking that their idea of life is better than somebody else's idea of life. And so, as you were talking earlier, a sort of attitude of judgment towards so many things that really are not any of your business. Now, when we say not any of your business, we do not mean that in the sense that it is not all right for you to take interest in whatever you want. But we mean not any of your business in the sense that even if it interests you, you really can't do much about what others are attracting and creating. And so you really set yourself up for a life of discomfort when you attempt the role of persuading or manipulating or influencing against the will of any other being. We know, and some of you are getting a very strong sense of it. We are watching you as you are moving through your experience. As you begin to recognize more and more that creation is not a process or a function of going out and changing anything. It is a process of you altering your vibrational frequency so that it has the feeling tones that reach out and bring to you just what you want. When you understand that, then you no longer worry about what is happening superficially out here around you. What any other being is doing has absolutely nothing to do with your life experience. The only thing that has to do with your life experience is your point of attraction, you see. Further, as you worry about what they're doing, it changes your vibrational tones so that you reach out and attract the very things that you do not want. And that is why the things that you feel critical of in the others keep pouncing into your experience until you then feel really justified in your decision that you don't want any more of that, you see.
But like, how could I, even rather than worrying about this person, how could I have enjoyed? Now you see,
the way we do it is by recognizing that the universe is made up of this tremendous, perfect balance of diversity of ideas. In other words, the variety is what makes the world go round. And so we see it as, you see, here is an essential key for you. Physical action-oriented approach to everything is, I see this thing that is wanted, and so I am aware of the opposite of it. And most physical beings really believe that the way to get what they want is to defeat its opposite. War on poverty, war on drugs, war against cancer, war against AIDS. In other words, I will cream, I will destroy, I will obliterate, I will remove from the face of the earth this thing that I want not, and then I will have what I want. And we say it could not be more backwards, because the more attention you give to trying to defeat this thing that you do not want, the more involved in it you are, you see. And so as you see something, big or insignificant, in your experience that you are wishing would go away, and you focus upon it and want it to go away, you just attract it bigger and bolder into your experience. And so what we do is we bless it for what it is, understanding that we do not have to embrace it. We can acknowledge it without embracing it. We can acknowledge it without resisting it. We can acknowledge it without making a big thing of it. We can acknowledge it really without even participating in it if we will put it in the category as it's one of those things in the universe that is well and fine to exist, but I'm happy that it isn't part of my experience. And then just leave it there in a nice, neat bundle, not something to protect yourselves against. It is that idea of protecting against what you do not want that is tripping most of you up regarding the things that you do want.
now,
You're wanting to speak?
What if it's something that's coming after you? What if it's something that's coming to you and criticizing you? And you don't want that. How can you not acknowledge that? Is that something different?
It is not. Whether it is a more extended or a more extreme version of the same thing. In other words, your attention to it has been long enough and steady enough that now you have actually attracted something coming after you, or so it seems. And the response is the same. Acknowledge it, just don't feel it. In other words, criticism can be very easily non-emotional if you can realize that the words have much more to do with the person offering the words than they do with you. In other words, criticism that is offered to you rarely has anything to do about you. In other words, you may have something that is a little catalyst that has brought it forth, but really what it is about is somebody else being very unhappy about something and looking for a target to release it on, you see. And so what we would say about when we see someone or when someone is offering their criticism toward us, Esther has said to us, Abraham, I see you and I feel you, and you do not respond. It doesn't bother you if someone is not approving of you. Why is that? And we say, because we approve of us. In other words, our well-being does not hinge upon what someone else with a different set of intentions thinks. Our well-being hinges upon what we think, you see. And so criticism does not bother you when you are sure. Criticism only bothers you when you're in tentative place. And if you're in a tentative place, then that criticism can be data collecting. In other words, the criticism can be helpful in helping you to find your place, you see. Enough there?
Now, I want to put two things together. One, I believe you said one time that two things cannot exist at the same time. In other words, one couldn't feel bad and good.
Correct.
All right. Now, this morning, when I was at the gym, I was thinking about what other people were thinking about my exercising, because it was much less than all the men around me that were lifting weights. And then when I was writing out an order for some sewing materials, I thought, well, they're going to think I'm quite a tailor, because I ordered several things that a tailor, that are needed for tailoring. And then I thought, this is ridiculous. This is so strange that I would be thinking about somebody who I'll never see in my life, what their opinion of me is. And
Well,
is that related? Can I somehow turn this over?
we are upon a very important topic here, and we want to begin here by saying to you, don't be so hard on yourself, because you are part of a society where there are many others, and you are here for the purpose of co-creating and uplifting and that sort of thing. That is really what is at the core of your interest in what others think about you. In other words, you came forth into this physical experience intending to be of value, intending to ooze and radiate and uplift. And so naturally you would have an awareness of the way you are interacting with others, you see. And so it is all right for you to ooze a little and then evaluate how your oozing has affected. We do it in every moment of our interaction. As you project your thoughts, blocks of thoughts or words through Esther to us, we receive them, we evaluate the offering that you have made, we offer our words back to you, and then we are very sensitive to the way you are receiving the words, for this is the way we become better at what we are doing, you see. And so an observation of the way we are, an observation of the response we are evoking from you is of value to us. That sort of knowledge helps us to become better at what we do. And so don't be hard on yourself because you're interested in the way you are affecting others. But if you sense that you are not evoking from them what you would like to, don't beat up on yourself or upon them. Just understand that there is confusion or differences of desire or intentions that are involved, and make a decision to give your attention to that which is of uplifting nature to you. None of us will ever be in a position where everyone in the universe will resonate with us purely. It just isn't going to be. We are all that different, you see. And that's good, not bad.
Now, do you have anything more to say about? I'm trying to see if I can't flip from a place that I don't want to be immediately to a place that I want to be. And that's why I've been thinking about this. Two things cannot occupy the same space.
That is a very good awareness point. You can't think about what you want and its lack in the same moment. You can't think about something that feels good and something that feels bad in the same moment. When you find yourself feeling bad, the obvious thing is to think about something that makes you feel good. And so it's good to have a pocket full of ideas. In other words, some subjects that have already been well honed, that have been well developed, that always make you feel good. It's nice to have a list of those so that anytime you want to, you can immediately reflect upon something that brings you right away to feeling good. Esther uses music in that way. It is almost always sure, no matter what her frame of being, to improve it dramatically because she is liking it very much. For you it may be same or something different or a combination of things. What we are wanting to say here before we move on is every thought that you are thinking is pretty well developed. In other words, it is rare when a new thought occurs. As we talk here tonight, we won't be discussing any new thoughts.